When we talk about modern bodybuilding, it's almost impossible not to start with Phil Heath. He wasn't just another champion. He became one of the most dominant names the sport has ever seen. His insane look, that famous 3D physique that seemed to pop under any lighting, quickly made people understand why he carried the nickname The Gift. But was all of that just natural talent, or was there something much bigger behind his story? Between 2011 and 2017, Phil racked up 7 consecutive Mr. Olympia titles. That put him right next to Arnold Schwarzenegger and just one step below the legends Ronnie Coleman and Lee Haney, both with 8 wins. A run like that doesn't happen by accident. It demands strategy, extreme discipline, and a near-surgical understanding of your own body. And Phil didn't just have those qualities. He mastered them in a way very few athletes in history ever did. Phil Heath's story starts long before the spotlight, long before the trophies and the bright Mr. Olympia stages. Born on December 18, 1979, in Seattle, Washington, Phil grew up in an environment where independence wasn't optional. It was survival. With his parents working nonstop to support the family, he spent most of his childhood on his own, learning early how to handle daily life. That quiet routine ended up shaping something essential: discipline. While most kids his age were only thinking about having fun, Phil was learning how to cook, manage his own schedule, and balance schoolwork with training. That early sense of responsibility became a rock-solid foundation for everything he'd achieve later. Sports came into his life as a natural extension of that discipline. Phil stood out in basketball from a young age, combining agility, coordination, and explosive power. That talent earned him an athletic scholarship at the University of Denver, where he played as a shooting guard. Throughout his college career, he played 66 games for the team, showing determination and focus every minute he was on the court. But it was while trying to improve his basketball performance that Phil discovered something that would change everything: weight training. At first, strength training was just part of his conditioning, a tool to improve his jumping, speed, and endurance. But over time, he realized it went far beyond numbers and stats. Something about that environment grabbed him completely. Maybe the steady progress, maybe the feeling of being in total control of his own body. What matters is that little by little, the gym stopped being just another part of his athletic routine and became a refuge, a lab, a personal stage where Phil Heath discovered he could become much more than he ever imagined. And the real question is, did anyone around him realize that this young shooting guard was about to leave basketball behind and build one of the most impressive physiques the sport would ever see? When Phil Heath decided to give bodybuilding a shot in 2002, nobody had any idea what was about to happen. At first, it just sounded like another curiosity, a challenge suggested by friends who were already competing. But the moment he started training seriously, it became obvious there was something different about him. The sport that takes most people years to understand seemed to fit Phil like he was born for it. And honestly, he kind of was. His progress was so fast, it almost looked fake. In 2003, just 1 year after stepping on a posing stage for the first time, Phil won the NPC Northern Colorado in the light heavyweight division. The impact was immediate. A year later, in 2004, he returned to the same show in the heavyweight class and not only won again. He took the overall title, proving the previous victory wasn't a fluke. He was consistent, explosive, and, most of all, growing at a pace that didn't make sense. Slowly, everyone started to realize they weren't looking at an ordinary athlete. In 2005, Phil entered the NPC USA Championships, one of the biggest amateur competitions in the country, and once again walked out as overall champion. That win earned him the coveted IFBB Pro card, the official passport into the professional circuit. It was around this time that the nickname he'd carry forever was born, The Gift. And it wasn't just hype. His muscle bellies seemed to respond to training like they were programmed to grow. Round delts, full arms, crazy density. Everything evolved at a speed that seemed unreal. It was like each rep was amplified by his own DNA. Coaches said they had never seen anything like it, and they weren't exaggerating. Between 2006 and 2008, Phil paved his way into the elite. He won the Colorado Pro, won the New York Pro, and in 2008, he made his Mr. Olympia debut. What could have been just a modest first attempt turned into history. Phil landed 3rd place right away, something extremely rare for a rookie. After that impressive start at the Olympia, Phil Heath hit an unexpected bump in 2009, finishing in 5th place. For many athletes, a drop like that would lead to frustration or even a step backward. But for Phil, it was the opposite. He took that result as a wake-up call and went back to training with even more precision, fixing every detail that needed improvement. That shift in mindset turned what could have been a setback into a springboard for something much bigger. In 2010, the impact of that evolution was already obvious. Phil returned to the Olympia with a denser, fuller, and more polished physique, taking 2nd place. That result made it crystal clear that the top spot was within reach. He was no longer just an impressive rising star. He was officially ready to fight for the crown. And that's exactly what happened the following year, when the world witnessed the beginning of a new era. 2011 marks the start of Phil Heath's reign, a 7-year stretch where nobody could knock him off the top of bodybuilding's biggest stage. His physique almost seemed to break the rules of human aesthetics. Those round, almost spherical shoulders looked like they were carved down to the millimeter. The insanely full arms, the dense, layered back, the tight waist. It wasn't just mass, it was artwork. That flawless package quickly placed Phil among the most aesthetic and complete physiques the open division had ever seen. His balance of proportion, symmetry, and size made him stand out even among massive, ultra-competitive athletes. Year after year, it felt like he always found a new way to evolve. And like every great era, Phil Heath's reign was marked by a rivalry that became legendary. His fierce back and forth with Kai Green. Kai was intense, artistic, emotional on stage. Phil was technical, precise, cold like a surgeon. That contrast in styles turned their battles into a show of their own. Every time they faced off, it felt like a duel choreographed by the very history of the sport. Quick question, which one of those showdowns is your favorite? The rivalry was so intense that fans still argue today about who really won certain matchups. But now let's get into what really matters. Because to understand why Phil Heath became the gift, you need to look closely at what made his physique so unique. Standing about 1.75 m tall, around 5 feet 9 inches, he wasn't one of the tallest or shortest guys in the open. But that exact height, combined with extremely rare muscle insertions, allowed him to create that famous three-dimensional look that defined his career. On stage, Phil competed at around 109 kilograms, about 240 pounds, completely dry and detailed. In the off-season, he hovered around 120 to 127 kilograms, roughly 265 to 280 pounds. Even with that big jump in weight, he managed to keep an incredibly balanced silhouette, proving his body had a nearly unreal ability to gain mass without losing shape. No wonder many experts call his physique one of the most consistent of all time. And the numbers speak for themselves. Arms measuring about 58 centimeters, around 23 inches, so full they looked like they were sculpted under pressure. A chest measuring 137 centimeters, about 54 inches, wide, dense, and deeply separated. A razor-tight waist at 73 centimeters, around 29 inches, creating that classic V-taper that very few athletes manage to hold while carrying so much size. Legs at about 81 centimeters, around 32 inches, giving solid support to the entire upper body. And 50 centimeters calves, roughly 20 inches, strong enough to balance out his already massive frame. Every measurement reinforced what your eyes already knew. Phil was built differently. When we talk about Phil Heath's training, it's impossible not to mention Haney Rambod, the man behind the famous FST7 system. With Haney, Phil found the perfect method to amplify his genetics and turn his physique into something practically three-dimensional. FST7 became a signature of the champion, a brutal strategy built around doing 7 final sets with very short rest, usually between 30 and 45 seconds, to literally stretch the muscle fascia. The goal? Create more room for the muscle to grow. The philosophy behind FST7 goes way beyond an extreme pump. It demands high volume, moderate to high reps, and flawless execution, always keeping constant tension on the muscle. For Phil, every rep felt like a direct conversation with each fiber of his body. Another thing that really stood out about Phil was the way he chose his exercises. Unlike bodybuilders known for pushing insane amounts of weight just to test their limits, Phil preferred machines, which let him isolate each part of the muscle and avoid unnecessary stress on his joints. That doesn't mean he avoided free weights. He just knew exactly when and how to use them. His priority wasn't lifting the heaviest load. It was stimulating the muscle in the most efficient way possible. Because of that style, a lot of fans created the myth that Phil didn't train heavy. But nothing could be further from the truth. The intensity of his training wasn't about how much weight was on the bar. It was about perfect execution. And Phil was extremely strong. His numbers in the bench press, squat, and rows prove he had plenty of power. He just didn't rely on brute strength as his main strategy. When people think of Phil Heath, many imagine he was just a sculptor of his own body, someone who cared only about aesthetics and didn't focus much on raw strength. But that's one of the biggest misconceptions about his career. Phil may not have trained with Ronnie Coleman's bone-crushing style, but that doesn't mean he lacked power. Actually, the numbers behind his lifts tell a completely different story. Starting with the bench press, one of the most iconic lifts in the weight room, Phil once revealed something impressive. He used 105 pounds dumbbells, about 48 kilograms each, which adds up to roughly 229 kilograms, 505 pounds, total on a dumbbell bench press. Moving weight like that requires not just strength, but insane control and stability. On top of that, he was part of the famous 1,500-pound club, meaning the combined total of his best bench, squat, and deadlift passed 680 kilograms, over 1,500 pounds. Those numbers put Phil in a category very few athletes ever reach. In the squat, even avoiding max effort loads to protect his lower back, Phil still showed serious strength. He performed sets with 495 pounds, 224 kilograms, for 8 to 10 reps, something many dedicated strength athletes would struggle to do. That shows his power wasn't just in his upper body. He had strength distributed across his whole physique, blending power with safety, and that says a lot about how smart he was with his training. When it came to deadlifts, Phil preferred a different approach. Instead of chasing max numbers with a barbell, he went for heavy dumbbells, focusing on higher reps and total control. His sessions often included 5 sets of 10 to 15 reps using dumbbells between 70 and 120 pounds, 32 to 54 kilograms each. That strategy protected his lower back while helping him build density and endurance, 2 trademarks of his physique. And of course, we can't forget arms and shoulders, areas where Phil looked like he was competing in another league. Dumbbell curls with 32 kilograms, 70 pounds, in each hand, triceps pushdowns reaching up to 59 kilograms, 130 pounds, behind the head machine presses with about 81 kilograms, 180 pounds, per side, and supinated rows with 315 pounds, 143 kilograms, for multiple reps. Altogether, these numbers make it clear that Phil Heath was far more than a perfect-looking physique. He was a seriously strong athlete whose training blended power, technique, and efficiency at a level you almost never see. To understand how Phil Heath built one of the most complete physiques in bodybuilding history, we need to look at his training routine as a whole. His leg day, for example, was a real endurance test. Phil started with leg extensions for pre-exhaustion, working in the 8 to 12 rep range. Then he moved to front squats, hitting anywhere from 6 to 12 reps, controlling every inch of the motion. The leg press came next to stack on more volume. Then came the breaking point. Heavy, short sets on the hack squat, finishing with 7 brutal FST, 7 sets. To wrap it up, calves with high volume, always between 15 and 20 reps. On chest and triceps day, the logic was similar. Varied stimuli, tons of volume, and obsessive control over technique. Phil opened with incline dumbbell presses, followed by incline flies to open up the upper chest. Plate-loaded machines kept the tension constant and added safety, and pec deck flies finished the session with the classic FST 7 pump. For triceps, he combined pushing movements, like dips and rope extensions, with heavier exercises like skull crushers. When back and biceps day came around, Phil mixed wide grip and close grip pull-ups to build both width and depth. Then he hit bent-over rows to pack thickness into the mid-back. Single-arm rows came in next to balance each side and keep his symmetry sharp. For the final pump, he used rope pull-downs in an FST 7 format. As for biceps, Easy curls, hammer curls, and concentration curls. Shoulders and traps day was almost Phil Heath's signature, since his delts were famous for looking like detailed spheres. Smith machine presses gave him safety to go heavy. Front raises built up the front delts, and lateral raises were pushed to the limit with FST 7 sets. High pulls and shrugs wrapped up the day, giving size and dominance to the entire upper frame. When we think about Phil Heath's physique, especially after everything we've talked about so far, it's easy to picture heavy workouts, machines everywhere, endless sets, and tons of FST7. But there's a silent engine behind all of that: his diet. Without it, no amount of training could have fueled his muscle growth, recovery, or that insanely polished look he kept year-round. Phil followed a meal plan as meticulous as his training. 8 meals a day, spaced out like a military operation to keep his body fueled and always ready for more. During prep, his diet was the perfect mix of precision and simplicity. His day started with egg whites, a clean and easy-to-digest source of protein. Throughout the day, he ate things like chicken breast, lean steak, brown rice, and sweet potatoes, foods that provided steady energy without overloading on carbs. His meals also included fish like tilapia or halibut, high in protein and almost fat-free. Everything was supported by key supplements like Celtec and nitroisolate, giving him maximum performance even on the toughest training days. In the off-season, when the goal was to grow without losing control, Phil stayed just as disciplined. He started his mornings with egg whites and cream of wheat, an ideal combo to kickstart his metabolism without weighing him down. His meals included top-round steak, chicken, white rice, and vegetables like spinach, broccoli, and asparagus. Protein shakes with carb blends kept his calories high in an efficient way, while tilapia at night helped with digestion and kept things steady before sleep. One crucial detail: Phil kept his body fat low year-round. Unlike athletes who bulk up heavily in the off-season, he believed putting on too much weight slowed him down and made him less productive. This wasn't just about looks, it was strategy. The less fat he gained, the less time he'd need to dial in for the final competition shape. Looking at Phil Heath's journey, there's no denying it. He didn't just compete, he defined an era. His list of achievements speaks for itself, but understanding the weight of those titles helps you appreciate the size of the impact he made. The highlight, of course, is his 7 consecutive Mr. Olympia titles, placing him among the greatest legends ever. From 2011 to 2017, Phil owned the biggest stage in bodybuilding like it was built just for him. But his career wasn't only about the Olympia. Back in 2008, before he became the monster the world knows today, Phil had already announced himself by winning the Ironman Pro, an event known for predicting who's ready to rise to the top of the IFBB. In 2011 and 2012, he also won the Shero Classic, one of the most important shows outside the United States, proving that his dominance wasn't tied to location or audience. He was ahead because of merit, consistency, and technique. And to top it off, in 2013, he took the Arnold Classic Europe, adding another elite trophy to his resume and showing that his reign wasn't limited to one type of stage or judging panel. All those achievements formed a career so impressive that in 2024, Phil Heath was officially inducted into the International Sports Hall of Fame. That honor isn't just about bodybuilding. It's about legacy, influence, and contribution to sports as a whole. Being inducted means his mark went far beyond competitions. He became a symbol of discipline, dedication, and excellence. On top of that, Phil helped solidify a new school of training within modern bodybuilding. While past eras were defined by raw power and lifting battles, Phil brought forward the idea of controlled intensity. His style showed that strength wasn't only about lifting as much weight as possible, it was about applying each rep with intelligence. He helped fans understand that an elite physique can be built with both brutality and science, and that combination opened doors for an entire generation of athletes. And of course, you can't talk about the Phil Heath era without mentioning his rivalry with Kai Greene. Their battles were more than athletic contests. They were full-blown spectacles that took the Olympia to another level of entertainment. For all these reasons, Phil is considered one of the most complete physiques the sport has ever seen. His entire package, shoulders, arms, back, proportions, looked like it was assembled piece by piece, with no obvious weak spots. He didn't win just because he was aesthetic. He won because he was consistent. Year after year, show after show, Phil delivered a level of excellence that very few athletes have ever sustained. And that constancy is exactly what makes him a legend. After going through Phil Heath's entire journey, it's impossible not to feel a mix of admiration and inspiration. The gift wasn't just a champion. He was living proof that discipline, strategy, and dedication can turn an ordinary person into a true legend. And now I want to hear from you. Which part of his story hit you the hardest? Was it his meteoric rise? His surgical style training? Or maybe that insane strength most people never realized he had? If this video motivated you, gave you a new insight, or simply made you look at bodybuilding in a different way, don't forget to leave a like. It helps our work more than you can imagine and makes the platform show this video to more people who love this world as much as we do. And if you want to support the channel even more, consider becoming a member. I also really want to hear your thoughts in the comments. Tell me, do you think Phil Heath is one of the greatest of all time? Do you think he still has what it takes to make a comeback? And which athlete do you want to see next in our analysis series? Your opinion is essential to keep this playlist alive and growing. If you're not subscribed yet, now's the perfect time. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. And before you go, I want to invite you to keep this marathon going. Another special video is about to pop up on your screen, made with the same care and packed with stories that'll inspire you even more. Click on it, and let's jump together into the next chapter of this passion we share. Big hug, and I'll see you in the next video.